Greetings, Gilliam the Rogue here once again, back with a PTS update. We are 2 days away from launching for Horns of the Reach on PC. On Xbox and PS4, it will be the 28th or 29th of August. I don't know for sure. ZeniMax has already posted on their official website. Highly suggest checking that out. But yeah, Horns of the Reach coming. Lots of changes. So we're going to discuss some of the most important things from the stream that I literally just got out of. So, in terms of Magicka DPS, let's start with Mundus Stones. Pretty much for everyone, you want to run Shadow. Shadow is winning in almost every situation because we have so much crit accessible to us because of amazing gear set buffs. So Shadow wins. You can run Mage if you want some more defenses. It's going to be very versatile. It'll work well in PvE or PvP because of that. Otherwise, in PvP, Atronach is getting a buff. Amazing. You can still run Shadow for really juicy crit hit damage or pretty much go with a lot of other stuff. But I'll be talking about PvE today. So Magicka DPS, Mundus Stones. If you are a Magicka Pet Sorc build, your pets do not inherit spell damage or critical hit damage, but they will inherit your crit chance and scale with only max Magicka instead of max Magicka and spell damage. So that means you'll want to run Thief or the Mage. I prefer the Mage. It's more versatile. It actually got buffed while Thief is getting nerfed. So I really like Mage next patch if you're a Pet Sorc build. Otherwise, if you're not, go with Shadow. Really, really strong. For Stamina DPS, again, Shadow wins in most situations because of just how much damage it enables, especially since we have so much crit built into our kit. Daggers, Khajiit, Nightblades, medium armor scaling, all of these really great things. We have more crit accessible to us, so Shadow wins. You can go with Warrior. However, I really am not a big fan of Warrior because it has a hard limit because only major minor brutality will buff that and maybe a few Fighters Guild abilities. Plus, Shadow just has more damage overall. So if you're running a really low crit build, like in PvP or something, then you can run Warrior. Otherwise, Serpent, again, is getting buffed because more regen. So Serpent is really good in PvP next patch as well. As for traits of Magicka DPS, Double Infused is currently overperforming because Lightning Staves are bugged at the moment. If you have an infused or just, it doesn't even have to be infused. If you cast Wall of Lightning from your back bar, it'll proc your back bar enchant. That's normal. That should be happening. Any ability should be proccing the enchant that you currently have if it's a weapon ability. Wall of Lightning, weapon ability. However, if I swap it and swap to my front bar now has a Flame Staff, but it's still proccing my charged weapon, even though I have a fiery weapon. So, if I Wall of Lightning and then spam light attacks, I effectively have two enchants on the front bar. This is why Double Infused is BIS for all Magicka DPS going into Horns of the Reach, is because this bug. Now, if on Monday you see fixed an issue where enchants procced on their improper bar, or something that mentions enchants proccing somewhere they shouldn't be, then Double Infused becomes useless and you don't want to run it because you're only going to get the benefit of one or the other, not both. So, if that does get fixed on Monday, then we're going to run Precise if we're in a really big group with lots of crit hit damage, like Minor Force from a Guard, or Twilight Remedy, or a lot of Major Force from Aggressive Warhorn. Then Precise will win on our back bar. Or we can take Sharpened if we have single target dots on our back bar and we're not reaching penetration cap, or we're fighting lots and lots of enemies. You can't apply debuffs to every single enemy. Torag's Pact, Alkosh, they have a limit because of their either AoE, Alkosh is very small, and Torag's is single target and it cannot proc readily enough on all targets. So, Sharpen is really good in AoE. Otherwise, if you want like a really nice balance of both, you can go with Nirnhoned on your back bar. It'll still do really, really great DPS. And then on your back bar, if this infused enchant does get fixed, you will probably want a Maelstrom Staff so that you get the bonus on both bars, or if you do not have a Maelstrom Staff, just any staff with a Berserker enchant on it. And that can be infused as well if you want that, so that you can proc that and then swap to your front bar, because you will retain the infused Berserker enchant because it is an augment, not a proc. Since it changes my stats, it will carry through weapon swapping and stuff. So you can utilize that as well. However, Maelstrom Staff will be ideal as a backbar option if the infused bug gets fixed. To reiterate, it is a bug because if I use the same staff, so a Julie staff with a shock damage infused, but I have it be a fire staff, so yeah, here, right here, it's the same exact staff except it's a flame staff. If I cast Blockade of Fire, it still procs my charged weapon when I'm on my back bar, but if I cast it in bar swap, it only procs my fiery weapon, so I'm not getting 2 enchants. So if I do light attacks, I don't get the charged weapon, so I only have 1 enchant. So that is the reiteration of why lightning staves are, why double infused is winning. It's because it's bugged and it only happens with Wall of Lightning. So if that gets fixed, double infused becomes you're going to want to run a Maelstrom Staff on your back bar. For stamina DPS, what traits do we wear? Again, front hand, if we're running dual wield bow, which is ideal for PvE DPS, infused on your main hand. And then if we do not have access to Major Fracture, we will want sharpened in our offhand. If we do have access to Major Fracture from a group mate or debuffs or ourselves, then precise on our offhand. As for our back bar, the trait is really, really negligible. Don't worry too much. Sharpened, precise, Nirnhoned, they all work. Infused even works too for a few moments. Do I know what's best? No, because the PTS does not have enough templates. I've heard Infused is winning by like 100 DPS, if that. So you can run that on a Maelstrom bow. Otherwise, Sharpen, Nirn, Precise, they're all within like 200, 300 DPS. It does not matter what your back bar trait is. So don't worry too much about it. But your front bar, Infused, Poison Enchant on your main hand, offhand Sharpened if you are solo without Fracture. You're going to have Berserker on that. And then if you are in a group or you do have Fracture, Precise on your offhand, again with the Berserker enchant. That gives that. All DPS builds, regardless of Magicka or Stamina, will be running Divines on their armor pieces. You can run Infused on the big ones. You will lose DPS, but you'll gain a little bit of resource management because higher resource pools and Magicka builds will have slightly higher damage shields out of them because damage shields only scale with max Magicka. So that gives you that. In terms of gear setups for Magicka DPS, so a static 5-piece, like this is not going to be Abyss in all situations. Horns of the Reach is immensely contextual. Traits, Munda Stones, gear, all of this changes depending on your fight, the type of player you are, the type of build you're using, and what content you're doing. So if you're solo, if you're group, if you're in a raid, if you're in a organized raid, if you're in like a pug, like this all changes depending on these variables. So I'm just going to give a very basic setup for all classes. 5-piece Mother Sorrow getting buffed through the roof, amazing. This is why we run Shadow as a Magicka DPS, because we get about 21% spell critical out of this set. It is amazing in terms of what it enables. So again, really good on everything. Doesn't matter what class, what race, what build. If you're a Magicka DPS, Mother Sorrow is great. Then the other 5-piece that we'll be running changes depending on our class. All builds can utilize Julianos exceptionally well, with the exception of Pet Sorks. Again, Pet Sorks only scale with Magicka or crit chance. So if you want more damage for your pets, go with Necropotence. If you're not a pet build or you can stomach your pet dealing less DPS while your other abilities get buffed, stick with Julianos. 5 Necro, 5 Julie. That will work on whatever class you're playing. If you're a DK, swap out Julie for Burning Spellweave or Sun. If you're a Templar, you can keep Julie or run Scathing Mage. If you are a Warden, you can run Julianos or you can run Necropotence again. However, Necro will probably be losing by a larger gap than it is currently because of the nerfs, so I will stick with Julie on Warden. If you are a Sork, again, Necropotence, you can run Netch. If you're a full lightning damage build, or you can stick with Julianos. Dragonite, we talked about. Nightblade, you want to stick with Julianos because we don't proc Scathing Mage enough unless we do crazy, crazy stuff. I'll talk about that in a more in the Nightblade build video. So yeah, 5 Mother Sorrow, 5 Julie. Really, really strong. Now, if double infused gets fixed, or does not get fixed, you will run a monster set. Currently, Doma House or Grothar is winning in all situations. It scales in a raid because of Aggressive Horn, all of that stuff. It helps your stamina sustain so you can block, bash, dodge, all of these insanely important things in raiding, dungeons, all of that stuff. So Doma House or Grothar. Grothar has only Magicka, so same DPS as Doma House. Doma House has DPS and survivability. If you don't have access to it, although you can use Slimecraw as well, it does really, really well. It's very close. However, Doma House and Grothar are both beating Slimecraw by about 500 DPS. So I really, really suggest it. It just helps sustain more DPS, it scales in a raid, etc. It doesn't rely on Aggressive Horn, just Warhorn, because 10% more. Warhorn lasts 30 plus seconds, Aggressive Horn lasts 10, so it's way easier to get the benefit out of Warhorn versus Aggressive Warhorn. So Slimecraw might win if you have permanent minor force and like 50% uptime on major force. However, like no group is doing that pretty much, so Doma House wins. Plus you get that sustain. If the double infuse bug gets fixed, we will drop the monster helmet. We will go back to Mother's Sorrow so that we have it active on our helmet, shoulders, and jewelry, and then 5-piece Julie or whatever set on our other 5-piece. Make sure if that does happen that you recraft Julie in 1 heavy, 1 medium, so you enable 5-1-1. Otherwise, 7 light is more sustain, less DPS in terms of stats, but you might get more DPS if you need the sustain. So you can choose from that. And then your front bar will become any crafted staff, does not matter. Make sure it is an infused shock enchant. If shock is already applied, use burning, the flame enchant. And if that's already applied, use pretty much whatever. Flame will still win in most situations because burning damage does insane DPS. It scales the most because engulfing flames, etc., etc. Otherwise, shock on your front bar if the infused bug gets fixed. And then on your back bar, we'll be running a Maelstrom Staff. Precise, Sharp, or Nern does not matter. If Infused does not get fixed, then we will be running again, that monster set on our 1 piece, and then a crafted Infused Julie front bar staff with Flame, and then a crafted Julie Lightning Infused staff with a Shock enchant on the back bar. So that gives that. And then for stamina DPS, again, a really classic setup. If you don't have a lot of stam DPS in group, 5 Twice Fang Snake. You're going to want 3 Jewelry, 2 Body Pieces, and then 5 Hunding's Rage, Night Mother's Gaze, whatever. You can use that as an interchangeable. Hundings will win in most situations. If you need sustain, use Vicious Ophidian, another really, really powerful, amazing sustain set. So 5 Twice Fang Snake, 5 Vicious or Hundings or Night Mothers. And then a 2-piece monster set. It can be Veladreth, it can be Stormfist, it can be Crags, or you can mix and match 2 1-pieces. So like 1 Crag, 1 Valley, or 1 Crag, 1 Stormfist, whatever it is, you can combine them. So if you don't like the proc because you have a lot of crit or there's too much mobility or something, then just use 2 1-pieces. If you're in a big group that has lots of stamina DPS, one of you run Night Mothers, the other run Sunderflame. No one needs to wear Twice Fang. So then you can run Hundings or Vicious or Leviathan. Leviathan is weaker than Hundings or Vicious because it has all crit versus Vicious will have Minor Slayer, it's going to have weapon damage, it's going to have sustain. Hundings will have flat damage. Leviathan has too much crit on it. You get so close to 100%, if not over 100%, that it becomes redundant. So you don't need Leviathan. It's still decent for a beginner setup, but you have to farm it, so I don't suggest Leviathan. So again, stamina DPS, 5 Twin Fang, 5 Vicious or Hundings in most groups. If you're in a big group and lots of people can work together, one where 5 Night Mothers, 5 Hundings, or 5 Vicious, and the other where 5 Sunder, 5 Hundings, or 5 Vicious. And then monster sets we talked about. Infused on your front bar, Precise or Sharp off bar. We already covered that. So yeah, that gives you pretty much all of the information for a PvE DPS mindset for Mundus Stones, gear, and traits moving in to Horns of the Reach. Again, when the patch goes live on Monday for PC, I will be streaming, talking about the patch notes, so we will figure out is double infused bug fixed? Did anything else get fixed? Did anything else change? Etc. etc. So look forward to that, and I will see you guys around.